Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about redundancy after 40, how to reinvent yourself in a post-layoff world. If you've been laid off or made redundant or pushed out after the age of 40, I want you to know something. This isn't the end of your career. It might feel like it is right now, but it absolutely isn't. I've placed hundreds of people who were let go, some in their 40s, 50s or more. And the ones that came out stronger were the ones that really took advantage of the situation and treated this as a strategic reset, not as a personal failure. So today we're going to be talking about what to do when the rug gets pulled out from under you. I don't want to go down the everything happens for a reason route, but I want to talk about a practical playbook for what to do next. I'm Ada Offonry, and this is Adapted Ambitions. In the US, tech layoffs hit over 260,000 workers between 2023 and 2024 combined. That's Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Salesforce. These companies were hiring aggressively a few years ago, and they still continue to hire right now. In the UK, redundancies amongst workers age 40 plus increased by 23% between 2022 and 2025. The average time to find a job if you're over 40 is 5 to 7 months for senior professionals, and it's longer if you're over 50. The hard truth is this: only 38% of people who were laid off over 40 found roles at a similar salary within 6 months. The rest either had to take pay cuts, pivot industries, or start their own thing. So if you're in this situation right now, know that you're not alone, but you do need a strategy to move forward with. Let's talk about what actually works. Imagine you've just been made redundant. It's your first 48 hours. You have to focus on getting the logistics right. The first thing I always encourage people to do is to negotiate your exit package. Don't sign anything in the first meeting you attend. Take it home, sleep on it, get some advice if possible, negotiate everything. If they're offering 2 weeks severance, ask for 4. If they're offering 4, ask for 8. Ask for extended health benefits, review your contracts, ensure that everything you're entitled to is being covered. If your company offers out placement services, even if you feel you don't necessarily need it, definitely, take advantage of it. Make sure that you're going to get a good reference letter. The thing here is that a lot of companies have significantly more flexibility than they let on, and they definitely don't want to fight. They don't want the PR that comes with it. And so, you need to just ensure that you have all the necessary information at your fingertips and you're negotiating. The second thing I'd say is clarify what you can and can't say. So certain companies have rules around whether you can say you were laid off or you were made redundant, or whether it was a mutual separation or not. So get clarity on it, because oftentimes those discrepancies will show up when you need a reference. Get that clarity for your own peace of mind. Within the first couple of weeks, definitely don't panic. It's easy to feel stressed out and that you have to find something immediately. Yeah, you might need to find something quickly, but don't let that make you panic. Give yourself permission, first of all, to be angry. If you've been working very hard, if you've been devoted, loyal, committed, it's okay to feel a little bit betrayed, but this isn't a feeling that should languish forever, right? Give yourself a time limit, feel the brunt of your emotions, and, we need to keep it moving and take action. And you don't want to be interviewing for new positions from a place of bitterness and resentment. You definitely want fresh energy when you're interviewing. So give yourself permission to move on as well. I would say that in those initial few weeks, don't make any huge decisions, right? Don't completely quit the industry, sell your house, sell your car and move somewhere else. Well, do if it suits you and that's what you've been thinking about. But if that's not what you've been thinking about, don't make any sudden moves, right? Just give it time. Give it time so that you marinate in everything that's been happening. You gather yourself together, the dust settles, and then you can figure out what your next moves need to be from a strategic standpoint. Talk to people who've been through it. Not everybody is going to give you all of the information that you need, but they might give you nuggets of information that help inform your choices. So definitely talk to people if you come across and or know people that have also gone through redundancies as well. And give yourself time, give yourself space to process and operate from a calm place. After the first few weeks are over, by the time you're kind of getting to the first month, that's a good time to start really being strategic. Not necessarily jumping into the first job offer you get, but this is a good opportunity to really kind of recalibrate. I usually encourage people to start off by being introspective. So hopefully by this time, the dust has settled a little bit, the shock is over. I want you to ask yourself if you want the same thing again. And if the answer is yes, fantastic, right? And if the answer is no, brilliant. That's a signal. Then I want you to go deeper. Ask yourself what you were tolerating in your previous role. Were you tolerating a bad manager or bad work environment, boring, unfulfilling work, no growth for multiple years? Write all of this down. This is your never again list, right? If you can help it, never again. And when you say bad manager, what do you mean specifically? Like, what were the attributes or characteristics of that manager? Be as specific as you possibly can be. And then the other thing you want to also reflect on is what you actually want in your next role. Now, oftentimes people start from what they've done before and what that will allow them or enable them to do in the next role. I encourage you to start from how you want to live, right? Are you someone that wants to be home with your kids as much as you can and fit in work around that? Do you want to travel around the world? In which case you probably want to build a location independent business such as I'm building right now. Or, do you want to do something completely different? So just start from how you want to live and the type of income you need for that kind of lifestyle, and then work backwards into the sort of role that you'd want. At this point, you want to be as specific as possible and really kind of map that out, because I think that the clarity that you get from being introspective and undergoing a session such as what I've just described is that it's going to save you months and months and months of going down wrong rabbit holes in your search. At this point, the dust has settled, you've done some introspection, you've come up with a few ideas of your never again list and what you would like to do and the lifestyle that you'd like to lead and the sort of jobs that will enable that to happen. Now you can then engage in a search the right way, right? So whenever I'm advising people on job search strategy, the number one mistake I see people making is over-reliance on job boards. So people apply on job boards and then wait to get responses and then are extremely frustrated when they hear nothing. When you apply for a job, for example, on LinkedIn, there are typically hundreds, if not thousands of other applicants as well. And it's just not humanly possible to call every single person of the thousands that applied for a job to speak to them and give each of them specific feedback. It's not feasible. And I know that that's frustrating and it's not fair. The job search process is massively inefficient. Only about 15 to 20% of roles get filled through public postings, and the rest get filled through referrals, recruiters. So don't rely on job boards. They should definitely be part of your arsenal. You should definitely be applying on job boards, but don't think that that is the only way to find a job, because that's only a small part of the job search process. Then the second thing is you need to reach out to your network strategically. So hopefully before this point, you've been cultivating relationships, you've been building your network. And I don't just necessarily mean with people who are more senior to you, who are the decision makers, but actually people underestimate the impact that peers can have on their careers. And so people who've left your previous companies for new jobs, the person that you go to the gym with, the person that you sit next to at church, these are all your connections, and they can help foster an ecosystem that opens you up to new job opportunities. Reach out to them, tell them you're on the market, tell them the sort of thing you're interested in. And, if you can, meet up for a coffee, even if it doesn't necessarily result in a new job, in a specific referral at that moment in time. The good thing is that they'll think about you. They'll refer, when an opportunity does come up, they'll think about you and they'll be able to refer you. The other thing I would say to do at this point is to find a couple of recruiters who specialize in your field, not generalist recruiters, but specialists in your field. And know that, human beings respond to human beings who are nice to them, right? So I often see people making the mistake of interacting with recruiters as if they're necessary evil. And you might feel that that's the case, but the reality is that they're needed, right, in the industry, because the job process is so inefficient. And so find a couple that you can build really good relationships with. I understand that not all recruiters are equal, and there's some that give the whole profession a really bad reputation. But if you can find 1, 2, 3 recruiters that you feel are specialists in your area, know the market, actually have the connections to get you into the sort of companies that you'd be interested in, those are the people to build relationships with. And don't be transactional about it. They might not necessarily have something for you the first time you interact, but if they sit within your niche, you know that it's only a matter of time before they have something that's relevant. So treat them as an extended part of your network, build a relationship, foster that relationship. If you're able to meet with them, and know that is you basically sowing the seeds, right? The other thing I would say to people is consider fractional work or consulting work or contract work. There are a number of organizations that have come up that, have fractional executives on seat, right, who are able to work on a fractional basis with a plethora of different companies. So you can research these sort of organizations, these sort of consultancies, fractional consultancies, and sign up for them while you're looking for, something more long term. Or it might be that this actually really works well for your lifestyle. And so sometimes the fastest path back to where you need to be isn't necessarily through a full-time role. It could be a contract that turns into something bigger that, extends your network. Or it could just be a fractional project that pays your bills while you're figuring out what you want to do over time. So I want to dig into 3 mindset shifts that are really going to help when you're dealing with redundancy. The first is, know that being made redundant is not a reflection of your worth. And I think that's really important. This is not personal. It might feel personal. It's not personal at all. The second mindset shift I want to emphasize is that you have significantly more leverage than you think. Too many people think through the prism of their role or the company that they just finished working with or their profession, but there's so much more available to you than that. And it's about realizing that your identity is made up of significantly more than your job title or your career or the company that you work in. So if you've been working for 10, 15, 20 years, during that period, you would have built up skills, you would have built up relationships, you'd have built up expertise. This doesn't just disappear because a company has let you go. Presumably, you would have won accolades. All of these things are still true today, regardless of being made redundant or not. The last mindset shift that I think is really going to help is that a lot of your best career moves will come from disruption, not from a place of comfort. And I've seen it time and time again. Someone gets laid off, they spend a few months figuring out what they actually want, and then they end up in a significantly better role with better pay, with a better quality of life. This can be your story as well, but only if you treat this time frame and how you operate strategically. Let's talk a little bit about what people do that backfires when they've been made redundant. One mistake, I spoke about this earlier, is applying to hundreds and hundreds of jobs on LinkedIn with a generic resume. This doesn't work, right? So it's exhausting, it's demoralizing. I would rather you focus on 10, 20 well-targeted opportunities with personalized outreach than your generic hundreds and hundreds of job applications with a generic CV. The other thing I see people do that backfires is hiding the fact that they were laid off. And I get it, right? For some people, there's an element of shame attached to this. There's a lot of power in owning the truth of your situation. And we're in an age where a lot of people are being made redundant. So you're definitely not an anomaly when it comes to that. So think about how you want to convey this in a way that you're not visibly uncomfortable. Practice your career story, right? Practice how to respond to the question of how you parted ways with your previous employer so that you're ready when this question comes up, which we obviously will if you're interviewing. The other thing I'd say is don't take the first offer you get out of panic. Take the first offer you get if it's a company you've always wanted to work for, if it's an amazing offer and you're genuinely excited and you don't think anybody else is going to top it. Don't take the offer if it's less than you are looking for, if it's a company you're not excited about, if you feel that's the only thing you're worth or you're going to get. Don't panic into a job or company or opportunity that you're going to regret only a few months later. Finally, I would say that as frustrating and as sad as a redundancy can sometimes be, and I know that there are people who hope for a redundancy because that gives them an opportunity to get a nice cushy package and move on to the next thing. But for some, it's a really painful time. Try not to burn bridges on your way out. It's really not worth it. I know that you might be angry. I know that, you really want to give people a piece of your mind. But I would say when the dust settles, you realize it's not worth you trying to trash the company on LinkedIn or sending a scathing email. You just don't know where you're going to cross paths with people again. It's not worth it. Don't try burning a bridge. Just kind of cut your losses and move on if you can. Here are a few tips to leave you with then. If you're being made redundant, remember, don't sign the first package you're offered. Definitely try to negotiate your exit package before you sign anything and make sure you understand all the benefits that you're entitled to on your way out and you're able to really take advantage of all of them. If you're a few weeks in, write your never again list, write your ideal list like we talked about before. And if you're actively searching, reach out to 5 people this week for informational conversations. It doesn't matter how tenuous the link to those people are. What I find is that people are always happy and flattered to be approached to have a conversation. And if people don't respond, just know that it's not a priority for them at this point in time and they might be too busy, right? That's okay too. It's happened to all of us. But reach out to people, don't take it personally, and just have an open, opportunistic conversation. I find that people often come away with great information that they can then leverage and input. And if you do this time and time again consistently, the impact definitely compounds. So if you find yourself in a situation where, you've been made redundant and you want some strategic guidance on how to position yourself or how to navigate the job market, I work one-on-one with technical professionals who are at a career inflection point. You can learn more about my services at offonry.com/advisory. If you want weekly insights on navigating career transitions, market intelligence, tactical strategies, then definitely sign up for my newsletter, which you can find at offonry.com. And you'll also get my free career decision scorecard there as well. That's it for this episode. Next time, we're going to be talking about what high-performing companies want right now from their talent. We're going to be talking about how you can position yourself for these sort of companies. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Ada Offonry, and this is Adapted Ambitions.